Midjourney is one of the best, if not the best AI image generator that's currently out there. But many people don't know how to use it to its full potential. And that's kind of a problem, because if you don't know how to use it, then you'll end up with images like this. Even though after tweaking it a little bit and after adjusting it with the settings that I'm about to show you in this video, then you can make cool images like you're seeing right now. In this video, I will give you the complete walkthrough to how this platform works, so you can go from a beginner to an expert with Midjourney. First, I will discuss the basics of how this platform works, like all the features that are in there, how you can create your first image, and I will show you how the parameters work, so you can adjust your images slightly to make better versions. Later, I will be diving into the more advanced features, so you can become an expert with this tool. The first thing we need to do is we go to midjourney.com, and then we have to either sign up or log in. I already have an account, so I'm just gonna log in. Then you can do that with Discord or Google. I use Discord for my account. After that, you're pretty much logged in and ready to go. But first, you will probably need a premium account. Now, unfortunately, this tool isn't free, but I will show you the best subscription to choose. Personally, I'm on the basic plan, as that covers the most things that I'm using. If you are a bit more of an aggressive user, you can go with the standard plan, but 30 bucks a month, I find it a bit too much. So lastly, you have the Pro plan, and that's more for the people that go crazy with this tool. And of course, you get a discount if you go with their yearly plan. Now let's dive into the platform and let me show you how it works. First, on the left hand side, we have the Explore tab. Now the Explore tab is my favorite tab. Here is where I get all my inspiration from. Here is where I save stuff to use on my own. Here's where I look at other people's prompt. Like for example, if I look at this one, I can see what they've used. I can see their styles, their parameters, everything in there. Now the Explore tab, you can do a lot of things with this. First of all, we have the feature that we can like it. So if we like this, then it will be added to our account and we can see a collection of liked images that we have found. So I would suggest you make the habit of liking all the images that you think look really good or really unique, or you like the style. Now we can do that just for every image like this, and then we can use that later. Then next up we have the search icon. Now the search icon, what it does is it searches similar images like this. So for example, I clicked on that astronaut and now it gives me all kind of astronauts that it can find. Then if we go back, we have another icon, and that's the edit prompt icon. So here it takes that prompt that this images has used, and then we can use it on our own. And lastly, we have the image icon, and this way we can use the image as an image prompt for our videos. So what I can do is I can type in a bird, and it will use this image and the prompt together to make a combined image with this kind of like style. So if you take a look at it, then we can see it has made this in a very similar style. It has used the wings of the butterfly to turn it into a bird. But more on that later. Besides that, on the Explore tab, if you click on an image that you like, then you can use the prompt, you can use the style or the image, kind of like what I've just shown you. You can also drag the image in there to use it as an image prompt, or you can toggle between these three characters to use it as an image prompt, which is by default. Then you can use it as a style reference, which is the paperclip icon, and then it will use the kind of style to match your prompt. So if I say, for example, a bird, then I can use this icon and then it will make the bird in the same type of style as this cat right here. Now, besides that, we have the option to use the character reference. This works great if you have an image, like for example, this person, and we want to use her face. Let me just delete this one. And we want to have it in a different location. Let's say, for example, women on the beach, and then we use that character, then we get something like this. So yeah, here we can see that it used her face on the beach. But because I wasn't correct with my prompt, it has made her like a twin, like it has with women. So I should do like one girl on the beach. So that is pretty much the Explore tab. Let me now show you the Create tab. That's where we're at right now. So here you can see all your creations, and here you can see the styles that you've used. Basically, this is what you will be using when you are creating an image. Now, next up, we have the Organize tab. Here we can see all of our previous images that we have made. You can select them by filters, so you can choose the versions you've done. You can do the types of images, you can filter them on everything. You can see your folders as well if you have them. And basically you can use this to create collections of different projects that you have in mind. Next up we have Chat, and I don't really use Chat that often, but Chat works as follows. It's basically kind of like a Discord server, but integrated within Midjourney. What you can do is you can take your images, or you can use the images that you have, then you can put them in the chat, and then you can ask for some feedback, you can ask for help. And yeah, I don't really use this because I just see people like make this photo realistic. People don't know how to use this, so I just avoid chat. But next up we have tasks, and task is pretty useful if you don't want to spend a lot of money. So I, for example, have the basic plan. What I could do now is I can take on these tasks to get some more fast hours. So basically the way Midjourney works is you get a certain amount of hours. You can see them on your account. If you manage your subscription, we can see that I have about an hour and 10 minutes left of my plan. Now, and that is because I'm using the fast hours. So with the base plan, you get about 200 generations a month. Now, basically how the fast hours work is to generate an image, you need a GPU, and with the fast mode, you instantly get that GPU. But you can also choose, for example, a relax mode, and that puts you in a queue. It makes sure that you don't use those fast hours, but it takes a lot longer. So if you want to have more hours available, then you can do tasks right here. And these tasks will help you get some more hours. Last feature I want to show you, which is pretty useful, is the toggle on between the dark mode. Speaks for itself. You can do light mode. I obviously hate this one, so I'm using dark mode. Now, before I dive further into how you can make AI images with Midjourney, I know a lot of you want to stay up to date with the latest AI marketing trends. Especially for businesses, AI tools like Midjourney are only going to get bigger and bigger, and as a business you need to stay up to date to know what's important in the upcoming years. If you want to learn more about how you can use AI for your advantage in your content or for your business, then I suggest you to check out this ebook that is called AI Insights for Marketeers. You can check it out in the first link in the description, where you can download it for free. And basically everyone in the marketing industry needs to stay up to date with the latest trends, so they can either A, apply it to their business, or B, prevent getting replaced with AI. Personally, I would recommend to check out page 20. It is an interesting read about how you can use AI for content creation or for your business. Besides that, chapter 5, that is about how investing in AI can benefit your business, is a super interesting read. Now, this ebook was made by HubSpot, which is today's video sponsor, and a big shout out for them for the free resource. And now let me just dive into how you can generate your first image with Midjourney. Let's start really simple here. So let's just type something in, a group of penguins walking on the beach. And now we can just simply hit enter. But let me just copy that prompt real quick. And now our images will be created. So they will be done in a little bit. But what you can also do is, if you reuse that prompt, I can either just copy it, or I can click on this and I say use text. And I can adjust these parameters, and here we have the basic parameters. This is probably what you already will be using if you just get started, but you might not understand how it works. So I will be going further in depth into this later in the video, but now I will just show you the basics of what it means and how it works. First of all, we can change the image size. So we can do so by adjusting it to like 16 by 9, for example, or by going like 9 by 16. You can do so right here. I like to keep it in square, but depends on what you're making. Now let me just cover the aesthetics. So first of all, we have stylization, and here you have basically how much closely it follows the prompt. So the more you keep it to the left, so the closer to 0, the more it will just follow your prompt. But if you want to have something completely different, or you're not sure what you're looking for, then you can drag it up, let's say to like 700 or 800, and you might get something completely different, as it leaves more room for creative freedom to be in the image. Then we have weirdness, and this pretty much speaks for itself. Like, If you add this to your image, then you might get a completely random outcome. And that's exactly what it says as well. You get something unique and unexpected. Lastly, we have variety. So what I have going on right now, I generate about like 4 images, as you can see. If I increase the variety to something higher, then what happens is I get 4 completely different results of my images. If I keep it like very similar, then I get pretty similar images. As you can see, like right here, I don't have much variety. But if I were to put the variety a lot higher, then let's do that for example, then we get 4 completely different images. So here you see we have one image that's very realistic, then we have a kind of weird penguin image, and then we have 2 also different type of images. So that happens with like chaos. So variety is also called chaos. Besides that, if you want to have a more aesthetically pleasing image or an image that less looks like it has been generated by Midjourney, then you can switch to the raw model. And this is pretty good if you have pretty prompt specific things, but as a beginner, just keep it on standard. And lastly, personalize. I'm not gonna dive into this because we won't be using this for this tutorial. Let's dive in a little bit deeper to prompting. So as you can see here, I'm not very specific. I just use a puppy. Then I get 4 different results. We get a puppy that is kind of like a drawing. Then we have a bit of a realistic puppy, and then we get like a watercolor, or I don't even know what type of painting this is, but yeah, we get 4 different puppies. Then if you are more specific, let's say for example a puppy with a bow tie, then we get a more detailed version. And then lastly, we have a cute golden retriever puppy wearing a red bow tie in the park at sunset. So before you start generating your images, really think about what you want to do, what you want to generate, how it looks like. I will give you a 5-step formula later, but now first let me show what you can do with these images. So let's say this one where he's smiling, I like this one a lot. If I click on it, I have a few options. First, click on more options. This will give you all the options that are available. So now we're going to select them all. And let me now discuss what they do. First of all, we have vary, and this will change it just slightly to the one that we have. So we can do subtle or we can do strong. I will show the results later. But this is pretty much just making slight changes to your image. Then we have upscale, and here I just use subtle all the time, because if I use this one, then it will upscale my image, and then I can use it for prints, I can use it to share. Basically, you just get a higher version of your image. Here we can have remix, and you can use this. Like you always have the option to either change it like subtly or strong. So if you want to have something different, then you use strong. No big parameters that you can use here to get it very detailed, but you can do that later. Now with remix, you basically are creating on top of this image and you remix it a little bit. Then next up we have pan. This can create a taller, a wider version of your image. You have zoom. This lets you zoom in into your image. Then we have more. We can rerun our image or we can use the editor. And then we have use, but that's the one I already showed you. This just basically brings the image to here where you can use it, or you can use it as a style, or you can use the prompt. Now let me show the changes of the variations that I've made. So here we have the subtle variation and here we have the strong one. Basically, there's not much of a difference in both of them. But play around with it if you think you have a good image, but you just want to make sure you have the best one. Let's dive in a little bit deeper into prompting. As you can see, it can have a huge difference in the way your image can turn out, because you can add all kind of different prompts and those details will be made by Midjourney. Now, I've made a prompting guide that goes over 5 steps that you can use to make the best type of prompt. Now, first of all, we have the image type. The image type is basically what type of image do you want to create. So do you want to create a photograph, an illustration, a virtual reality image? Do you want to make a Polaroid? Something like that. So you can literally use this in the first part of your prompt. So you can say an image or like a Polaroid or an illustration, a drawing, a sketch, literally everything. Then we have the subject. So that is, what do you want to create? So for example, I want to create a person, a mouse, a keyboard, an animal, anything that is a subject. Literally, I've put all the examples in there. You can just go through this and read them for yourself if you don't know what to create. Then we have details, and here you can add in more specific elements to your image. So you can either do like an action or like a background or colors or a perspective. Anything that you can imagine you can put into the details. I've seen people literally make huge prompts, be very specific, put in many details to get the best image result possible. So you can be expressive with the details. You don't need to keep it short or concise, but make sure you use this format. Next up, we have the style, and the style is very important for the outcome of your image. This can either like make or break your image, depending on how you use it. So, for example, I want to have an image in the style of Leonardo da Vinci. Then I can literally type that in there and it will be added to my prompt. If I don't give it that style, then how does it know to create that type of image? So keep that in mind if you want to have a specific style. Lastly, we have parameters, and parameters is a bit more advanced. It is a bit more difficult to use and to understand what the impact of a parameter is on your image. I will show you and I will try the best way to explain every parameter for you, but basically the parameters that you're seeing right here, these are parameters. So we have the stylization, the weirdness, and the variety. That comes with, like, if I drag this to the right, it comes with the variety, or this is also called chaos, and it will give it a chaos score of 60. Now, these all have their own custom numbers of what the impact for it can be. Now, some, for example, have a score of 0 to 3000, while others have a score of like 0 to 3. So yeah, just go through the Midjourney guide or go through this guide to read about the parameters. Now, if you combine all that, then that gives you this formula. So the formula is as followed: a image type of the subject with details in style, insert the parameters. Now, the words in between, they can be changed or can be replaced with other prepositions. For example, a Polaroid of the landing on the moon in a Hollywood film set with props in a retro style, and then I've added some parameters. Now, if I just put this into Midjourney, then I'm just gonna reset this. Then I get an image that looks like this. So here we have a more advanced image that has been made with parameters. Most of the images that you see on the home screen, for example, they all have some kind of parameter in there. The image right here, for example, has a different aspect ratio, it has a style reference, it has a style reference weight to it. Basically, it has used all of that to make this image. Now, that's exactly what we want to do in our image. Let me in the meantime just check the image that I just generated. Here we have a Polaroid image of the fake moon landing that we have done on a Hulu. Now back to the image that we have just generated. Here we have a Hollywood set of the moon landing being faked, basically through a Polaroid retro style. So that is because I'm so advanced with the prompt that I get a very detailed outcome. Now that is pretty much the first thing you want to do. You can stay away from the parameters, but you can first check out this document, which I will leave in the description. You can download that for free. You can use this formula to get the best outcome for your images. Now that you understand how to prompt correctly, let me dive into it a little bit further and show you the difference, what style reference does, what using an image as a prompt does, and pretty much, yeah, get you a bit more advanced on this level. So first up, I put in a prompt, a logo of a bar. Now, I kept the style reference, I kept it at the default. So pretty much I kept it at 0 or at 100. Now, this just generates a standard basic logo of a bar, or in this case of a glass that represents the logo of the bar. Now here on these images, I increased the stylization. So we have the stylization right here, and I increased it to 300, which means we get less of a following of the prompt and more a creative freedom with that. Then I get something like this. And next up, you can see if I increase it to 600, we get more creative logos. And then we get things that aren't really related to the prompt at all. So we get like a skull with these glasses behind it. Looks kind of cool, but it's not really related to the prompt. So you can play around with the stylize with that. Same goes here, another example, a keyboard on a desktop stylize over here is 0. Then we just get generic basic keyboards. Next up we have the weirdness, and the weirdness is over here. I toggle this from 0 to 300 all the way to 3000. First up, I use this on the prompt a keyboard on the desktop. Then we can see we get these generic keyboards right here. Then I used it with weirdness 300. Then that gives me a bit more strange keyboards like this one. And then I used it on 1200, so we get even stranger ones. And literally it just goes up and up. So we get things that like are a bit weirder, a bit more creative. As you can see, the results are more unique and unexpected. Literally the last ones, I get this one with a screen, get this one with kind of like a weird cutout. But yeah, you get the point. That's how weirdness works. Now, if we combine these things together, we can do a lot of different things in here. So for example, if I use this image and I use this as a character reference, which is kind of strange, and then I use this poster right here and I use this as a style reference, then I can type in a prompt, for example, and we can say John Wick poster. Then I do a couple of codes. So I do character weight. So the character weight by default is 100. So let's do this one at 50. Then we can change the style reference weight. So for this, I'm going to do SW and then make it 50 as well. And then this will mix these two images together. And then we get something like this. So then we get something like this, or you can see here we have it with these stones. In my opinion, I could use this same thing, but I should maybe put the character weight a little bit less aggressive, so even lower. And also I just noticed I had my parameters on wrong. So as you can see, then we get something like this. This looks pretty cool. We have those stones mixed in with that poster. Honestly, yeah, looks pretty creative. You can edit it even further right here, or you can just say like, make me strong variations. Now we get a lot of different variations. We can reuse the image that we have. We say John Wick poster, and we can also like up the variety here. And now we get a few different options right there as well. Just play around with this. You get a lot of different outputs. I would say change like one parameter at a time to see exactly what it does. So basically, as you can see right here, we have a variation. This one looks a lot cooler in my opinion, but it has just removed those stones. So those are also things that you can play around with. I would suggest you to check out like this website right here. We have a lot of things to go through. So we have like the chaos meter that I just used, but you can also use the character reference. You can use personalization. You literally, the possibilities with this are endless. It might be too much to show in this video, but as you can see, with different prompts and with different styles, then you get different results. Now, lastly, you can try a lot of different things with putting in an image. In my opinion, putting in an image of your head doesn't work that well. Like I've tried it and the results weren't that great. So let me just put a character reference on this and I just say a man sitting in a library. Now let's see what it makes. Here's the result where I put in my own face. We can see it's not very good, so I don't recommend using Midjourney for using your own images, but I would recommend if you have a character that has been made by Midjourney, then you can put it in as a reference and then it will use that style or that image and it will be very good at it. But honestly, if you want to use your own face in an AI image generator, then I would suggest you to try out Flux. If you click on the video that's on the screen right now, I will give you a full tutorial of how you can use Flux and use that to create character images like you're seeing right now.